Boycott in again. Slightly back of the length. George Adams tried to pull that, didn't quite time it. Got a little under edge, and that's just dribbled to mid-wicket for no run. Again, slightly back of the length. George Adams just pulled that too deep mid-wicket. They think about a second, but no, the fielding's too good from Theo Thackerell in the deep there, so it keeps him down to just a single, brings Georgia Elwys on strike for the first time against the bowling of Claire Boycott.
What can we expect from Elwys then, Gemma? I mean, from the last over, certainly not hanging around.
In comes Boycott, and she's just steered that down to third man, but there is a fielder there for no run. No, she looked like she'd come out with some urgency, but she's a very experienced cricketer, obviously with England as well as county and franchise cricket, so she'll be looking to build an innings, I'm sure, from this situation. That's a good length ball from Boycott. That's just pushed into the offside for no run. So after the 4 off the first over, that turned out to be quite a good one for the Sparks, just 5 off it.
You're listening to BBC Radio Solent Sport live from the county ground in Hove, where the sun is shining. Blue skies with a few clouds overhead. It is the Charlotte Edwards Cup, the return of the competition after a break for the 100. At the end of the power play then, the first 6 overs, the Vipers 51 for 1, Georgia Adams 25. George Elwys alongside her, 10 not out. We are going to see Baker continue from the Cromwell Road end on the far side. She has taken the only wicket of the game so far, that of Maya Bouchier. Caught by Hill behind the stumps for 13. And Elwys could easily have fallen in that last Baker over as well, dropped by Issy Wong on the rope. Here comes Baker again. Full toss. Georgia Adams this time slaps it up to cow corner. One bounce into the hands of Issy Wong. Does come round quickly to do the fielding and then wings the throw straight in over the stumps back to Baker. Just the 1 run picked up by Adams. Brings Elwys back onto strike. 52 for 1 the Vipers. Left arm over. Loopy leg spinner from Baker. Not much turn in there. Elwys scrambles through for the single. Good running from the Vipers pair. Bit of a strong breeze out there this afternoon. The Sussex flag away to our right above the scoreboard alongside the clock. Pretty busy in the wind. Dot ball from Baker. She darts one in a little bit quicker to Georgia Adams. What can the two Georges do for the Vipers this afternoon then? More flight again from Baker this time. Full toss. Adams pushes one into the offside. Fielding's not the best, so they'll scramble through for a single. The score moves on to 54 for 1 for the Vipers. Adams on to 27, Elwys on 11, back onto strike. Here comes Baker again. Elwys on the sweep. Fielded it, short fine leg, dot ball, no run. Just lost that line a little bit there, Baker. Difficult from our commentary position. We're over to one side, the wicket away to our left, to see how much turn Baker's getting out there so far. Over the wicket again, full toss again. Elwys drives to mid off, and there's a brilliant throw, and Georgia Elwys run out. Never really a run there, I don't think. It was straight to the fielder, direct hit. You're always going to be in trouble. Georgia Elwys makes her way back to the pavilion for 11. The Vipers 54 for 2.
Yeah, I think that was that was a never, like you say, never a run there. I wouldn't even say she ran on the shot, because it wasn't as if she hit it really hard. She just sort of pushed it to that mid-off position and took her on. But yeah, that'd be a disappointing way to go. Georgia
Elwys is cool as well. She can't have any complaints on that front in terms of, you know, not seeing really what was happening.
She didn't put the dive in either. We can't see from here how close she would have been, but there was sort of no dive. She kind of gave up a little bit once she realised a direct hit would see the end of her.
Vipers 2 down already then. 54 on the board. 7 overs gone. That was the last ball of the over as well. See who's come in for Georgia Elwes, who's batting at number
Charlie Dean.
4. It is Charlie Dean.
Charlie Dean comes in and she's straight on strike as it's the end of the over. There's a bit of discussion going on with the captain, but it looks like it's going to be Claire Boycott to continue for her 3rd over. It's a good start from the Vipers. How does it differ commentating on this to the 6-0 last night?
Yeah, it's been better so far. It was hard work last night. That is to say the least. Particularly when at half-time you kind of already know that the game is done and dusted.
What was the score at half-time?
It was 3-0 at half-time.
In comes Boycott to Charlie Dean. She's fired that one in and Charlie Dean's just turned that to square leg for an easy single to get herself off strike.
When you're trying to find positive things to talk about from a Bournemouth perspective for the listeners who of course are mostly Bournemouth fans, it's not the easiest. It's 3-0 down, 4-0 then 5-0 and 6-0. Yeah, it's been a bit easier to do so far this afternoon.
Georgia Adams on strike. Boycott comes in. That has just been pushed down on the ground on the onside for another easy single. Score moves on to 56 for 2. Georgia Adams on 28 from 24 deliveries. Just rotating the strike here as Charlie Dean gets settled. Charlie Dean also played in that England A game a couple of days ago and picked up a wicket herself as well. And 22 runs, I think. In comes Boycott. Similar shot that Charlie Dean played off her last delivery, just turned that to backward square leg for an easy single.
Yeah, good week for Charlie Dean so far. See if she can continue that with some runs here at Hove this afternoon.
Boycott to Adams. That's been pushed through the offside. There's a cover sweeper there who's picked that up for an easy single. That's Izzy Wong on the rope there. Throws that into keeper Chloe Hill.
Joe, we've spoken about the running from Georgia Elwes. We've got to speak about the fielding as well from Marie Kelly. I mean, it was a brilliant throw at mid-off, the direct hit in that last over.
It was. One stump to aim at. In comes Boycott. Oh, that's a plain miss. She's just tried to push that, but that's gone past the bat into the hands of the keeper, who stands up to Boycott.
A little bit of movement off the pitch there, I think, from Boycott.
Dean on strike. That one again just been pushed to mid-off for a dot ball. So we've just had the 4 runs off that over, 4 singles and 2 dots to finish. So another tidy over from Central Sparks. Leaves Vipers on 58 for 2 off 8. Scoring runs slowed down quite a bit in the last 3 overs since the power play.
Yeah, good recovery from the Sparks because started well and then it looked like the Vipers were getting on top. A couple of big boundaries in there. It's gone backwards and forwards so far in the early stages of the game, which will hopefully mean we're in for a decent contest throughout. It's going to be Baker to continue from the Cromwell Road end, the far side. Right arm over the wicket, leg spin. Georgia Adams flicks it off her hip. She beats the fielder Boycott. Back short, fine leg. You'll be disappointed with that. All the way to the boundary for 4. Georgia Adams is going along very nicely. 33 now off just 26 deliveries. The Vipers on to 62 for 2. She's going to be the key wicket for the Sparks, as she always is for any team that the Vipers are playing against.
Yeah, she certainly does cause trouble for the opposition in this competition. Did last year in the Rachel Hayhoe Flint, scoring 500 runs, I think, in the competition.
Baker right arm over the wicket. This one's outside the off stump. Cut away by Adams. Fielded it point, dot ball, no run.
And here today she's looking in that same 2020 form as in the year 2020 that she was last year.
More flight from Baker. Adams out to meet it on the front foot on the full toss, but just drives it back into the ground and back to Baker, the bowler, who's quickly ready to go again. That's a better length. Just on the pads of Adams though, comfortably flicks it into the leg side. She's sprinting back, wanting the second, decides against it in the end. just the single picked up. Adams on to 34, the Vipers 63 for 2. Sensible running on that occasion from the Vipers pair. 2 wickets to fall. Maya Bouchier for 13, bowled by Baker off the far side, caught by Hill behind the stumps, finding the edge of Maya Bouchier's bat, and then Georgia Elwes, who had rode her luck a little bit. She was dropped by Issy Wong off the bowling of Baker, then smashed a huge 6, another boundary in there as well, before eventually running herself out, hitting the ball to mid-off, and that's a short long hop there from Baker. It's pulled away by Charlie Dean into the leg side. Bit of hesitation in the running again from the Vipers. The throw from Issy Wong not quite powerful enough to make it from the rope back to the wicketkeeper to put Charlie Dean in any trouble, but Dean just a bit hesitant to turn for the second there. Georgia Adams was already charging back to the bowler's end. Means Dean remains on strike. She's 4, 65 for 2, the Vipers. Baker beats the outside edge. Charlie Dean giving herself some room, just stepped away to the leg side, then went for the big slap into the offside. Big appeal from behind the stumps for the Sparks. Dot ball, no run, not out as well. At the end of the 9th over then, the Vipers 65 for 2. Georgia Adams, the linchpin again, holding the innings together so far. 34 opening up off 29 balls. Charlie Dean now alongside her following a recent call up to the England side. She's on 4 from 6.
It looks like Claire Boycott is going to bowl her 4th and final over for this game, so she's bowled her 4 overs in one spell. She's coming in from the sea end to Georgia Adams, and that's a full delivery. It's just been flicked down leg side, and that might go all the way. There's a chase on for the fielder. She does well. That's a long way from us. I can't make out who that is, but she chased that down well, keeping that to 2 runs.
Decent crowd in the sunshine here in Sussex this afternoon. The south stand away to our left next to the commentary box is empty today, but the pavilion well populated.
Boycott coming in over the wicket, and that's been driven through the offside. There's a sweeper out there, keeps it down to 1 fields well. Yeah, it's brilliant to see. Last week, obviously, at the 100 final, there's a record-breaking crowd number for women's domestic cricket. I think it's 17,000 for the women's game. Obviously, the men's game was after, but they took that reading. Boycott comes in, and that's just pushed to the offside for no run. Yeah, they took that reading of 17,000 at halfway of the women's game, which broke any previous record for any female franchise cricket that's been played. So that's a fantastic milestone for the women's game.
Yeah, really good to see. And to be fair, 2:30 on a Wednesday, not the easiest time to come and watch cricket for many people.
Here comes Boycott. That's pushed a little bit firm on the offside, but the fielder in there, extra cover, cuts that off for no run.
But many still in, enjoying the sun away to our left in the pavilion, and great to see a number of youngsters as well, just enjoying the last week of their summer holidays, taking in some cricket, watching the stars of the future.
But that's a fuller delivery, and that's been driven down the ground, but no run. Sparks have lifted their fielding inside the ring, and they're putting a lot of pressure on the Vipers here, not giving any easy singles away. It's always hard to tell with the Vipers crowd if there's Vipers fans wearing the shirts or security guards.
Yeah, there's a few photographers in high-vis orange as well.
In comes Boycott, again a full delivery, and Charlie Dean has just dug that out into mid-wicket for a single, and I think that completes Boycott's spell. Do we have the bowlers? Sorry, I'm really struggling to see the scoreboard from here. Are the bowling
it's
figures
still on
there?
Baker at the moment, so it hasn't ticked over to Boycott. We can bring you her figures in just a moment. At the halfway stage then of the Vipers innings, 69 for 2. They lost the toss, were put into bat by the Central Sparks. The 2 wickets to fall. Maya Bouchier for 13. Caught by Hill off the bowling of Baker, and Georgia Elwes run out by Kelly for 11. A brilliant throw, direct hit from mid-off, with Georgia Elwes sprinting through, trying to steal a single. Georgia Adams, the star of the show so far. The skipper not out, 35, opening the batting. Charlie Dean alongside her on 5 now. Those Claire Boycott figures then, 20 runs off her 4 overs. No wickets, no maidens, an economy rate of 5. Pretty tidy stuff from Claire Boycott. Change of bowling from the far end as well. Elizabeth Russell's going to come back on. That's a horrible full toss, slapped into the leg side, punished by Charlie Dean. She wasn't going to miss that opportunity. First boundary for her. The Vipers on to 69 for 2. 74 for 2, I should say, sorry, as that scoreboard ticks over. Was given as a no ball as well for height. Hence the 5 runs picked there, so it'll be a 3 hit now for Charlie Dean off the bowling of Russell. Long run up for Liz Russell from the Cromwell Road end. Got a sweeper back on the offside. That's a good delivery for the free hit. Full and straight. Charlie Dean can only drive it up to mid-on. Dot ball, no run. 2 fielders back on the leg side as well. Fine leg is back. There's a deep square leg. As we said, cover on the offside as well on the rope. And 3rd man back. Everyone else inside the ring. No slips. Liz Russell, right arm over the wicket. Full and straight again at the toes of Charlie Dean. They're going to scramble another single into mid-wicket. Good running from Charlie Dean on that occasion. Keep the strike rotating. Bring Georgia Adams back to the crease. I mentioned a few moments ago, I said the crowd watching the stars of the future. I mean, you could probably argue they're already stars, but certainly with what the 100's doing, and you mentioned the crowd there in terms of the publicity the women's game's getting now, they are very much going to be the stars of the future, those players out there this afternoon. As they start to get more and more exposure, that one's driven into the offside. The wind just picks up here at Hove. Georgia Adams moves on to 36. The Vipers 76 for 2.
Absolutely, it's going to do wonders for the women's game. Obviously, England women have been covered on radio, television, etc. for a few years now, which has been great, but England fixtures are few and far between compared to the sort of franchise cricket. So it's been fantastic for these young supporters. You know, they've seen someone, whether it's Jemima Rodriguez or something, smashing 90 in the 100, and then they can follow her and sort of say, when's she playing again? And it's just a few days away, and you can get that kind of consistency of following and watching the women's game or listening to it, and it's that's been really good for the youngsters, I think.
Liz Russell turns at the top of her run-up, charges in, full and straight again at the toes of Charlie Dean. Dug out well by Dean, up to mid-on. Dot ball, no run. After a loose start to the over from Russell, she's recovered well. That wind really starting to pick up. Interesting to see if it has any impact on the ball. Any shape that Russell might be able to get. And she comes again over the wicket from the Cromwell Road end, the far side. Slapped away by Charlie Dean. Almost baseball style, sort of bent her knees a little bit, sent it up over mid-on, all the way to the boundary for 4. Another good over for the Vipers. The end of the 11th. They are 80 for 2. Georgia Adams 36 from 32. Charlie Dean moves on to 14 from 16 deliveries.
So we're going to have a change of bowling from this end. That's going to be enforced by Boycott finishing her spell. Captain Eve Jones just having a chat. It looks like it's going to be Marie Kelly from the C end. Just making sure she's got the field exactly how she wants it. She gives her cap to the umpire. Oh, they're not allowed to do that anymore, are they? That's old school.
No.
Gives it to one of her teammates.
Despite COVID rules nationally easing, they've not changed very much in the cricket.
So there's always someone wearing 2 caps on the field.
It'll be a new fashion thing before you know it. You'll be seeing people walking around the streets with 2 caps on.
In comes Kelly to Adams. Adams had a swing at that through the offside. Again, cleared up by Izzy Wong on the out there. She saved quite a few runs on that rope today, despite dropping the catch of Elvis earlier. But she's been patrolling that boundary well, keeps that down to a single, brings Charlie Dean on strike.
Joe, what will the role be of the two batters out there at the moment then, and perhaps through the innings as well? We know Georgia Adams is capable of batting through and will probably do that, so we'll put the bad balls away.
Talking of which, that's a short ball that's been pulled, but there is protection down there, so that's just a single to Charlie Dean through square leg. I think what they're doing now is sort of perfect for the situation. They're rotating the strike and putting the bad balls away, and I think for the middle of an innings, when you're just a couple down, that's just about the right thing to do. In comes Kelly to Adams. That's a bit fuller. She's tried to cut that away, but just finds extra cover, boycott extra cover for no run.
You almost seems to always develop in Adams being there as well, but then you get the aggression perhaps in and around her, so we've already seen that a little bit from Elwes and Boucher, and Charlie Dean coming in now playing a few shots.
That's been cut to backward point. It was an awkward bounce for the fielder at point there, who wasn't able to cut that off, and that's run away for 4 through backward point. Another 4 to Georgia Adams. She moves into the 40s.
And I guess knowing that Adams is there batting the way that she does so frequently kind of takes the pressure off those at the other end who can perhaps just come in and be a little bit freer.
Absolutely. And that sort of 3-over blip, if we want to call it that, where we said the run rate was drying up, they've got back on top of that now, the Vipers. That's a full toss. That's been hammered through the offside. Izzy One won't cut that off. That's 4 runs through extra cover. Another 4 to Adams. Score moves on to 90 for 2.
Clinical, powerful batting from Adams there. You can't be bowling those kind of deliveries to a player of Georgia Adams' quality.
In comes Kelly over the wicket. That's a fuller ball. That's been driven to extra cover for no run. So at the end of the over, the score is 90 for 2. Georgia Adams is on 45 off 37 balls, and Charlie Dean also going along nicely on 15 off 17. So these two have had a really good partnership so far.
Yeah, great recovery from the bowler there with the final delivery. Marie Kelly, after receiving a bit of treatment from Georgia Adams. It is going to be Liz Russell to continue from the far end. So she will move into her 3rd over. 25 runs off her first 2 so far. She's been expensive, most expensive of the bowlers for the Central Sparks, who have still of course got 2 overs left for Izzy Wong. It'll be interesting to see whether they save her or they try and break up this partnership which is starting to develop. Liz Russell right up over the wicket to Charlie Dean. Dean across the stumps, tried the scoop shot, ended up just scooping it into her own shoulder, I think.
It might have been her helmet. Looks like they're having a helmet check.
It was the helmet. Charlie Dean takes the helmet off. I think she connected with it. I'm sure she did, didn't she? Flicked it into her own helmet in the end.
I think she did, yeah. Obviously from where we are here, she's got her back to us, so we couldn't see it front on, but they are checking the helmet or swapping the helmet.
And the umpires just signal for a dead ball. Ben Debenham and Jasmine Neeham, the 2 out there. That will give the chance for some drinks to be brought on as well. It is quite a hot day out there. The players be grateful for that, even though it is only a T20. I think the helmet's been changed, or is it the same one that's gone back on?
I'm not sure. I think she's put the same one back on, so it's obviously got the all clear.
Those shots look great when they come off. They can often end up that way as well when you, well, obviously that's the reason they wear the helmets, but when you're scooping it into your own helmet, not quite so glamorous. Let's see what Liz Russell does now, having seen Charlie Dean moving across her stumps, trying to find the gap on the leg side.
Like you say, I think once you've scooped one into your own lid, you're not going to do that anytime soon again, are you?
Well, that's what will be interesting to see. I certainly wouldn't. I'm not sure I'd be brave enough to try it once. let alone get it wrong and then try it a second time. How will each player respond? Liz Russell, top of her run up to Charlie Dean. Right arm over the wicket. This time Dean stands still and drives into the offside. Doesn't quite get it right. I think that might well have been an inside edge into her pads this time. She jogs through for the single, picks up the 1 run. The Vipers onto 91 for 2. It brings Georgia Adams onto strike, who is approaching a half century. She's 45 from 37 deliveries. In comes Liz Russell into a delivery. Finds the outside edge of Georgia Adams. May have been the face of the bat. She just opened the face up. Maybe a little harsh there to say the edge of Georgia Adams' bat. She had a little bit more control than that. Guides it down to third man. Baker does the fielding. Will come through for the single. The Vipers on to 92 for 2. Georgia Adams on to 46. Charlie Dean back onto strike. She's on 16. Liz Russell is in. Full and straight. Good Yorker at the toes of Dean. Well dug out by Dean. The ball bouncing into the ground, looping up in the air. Liz Russell was diving for it. There was a few oohs from the crowd there as they thought there may have been a catching opportunity. I think it was a bump ball. Little change in the field. Third man's coming up into the ring. Mid-on's gone back to the boundary. Still got a sweeper on the offside and 2 back on the leg side as well. Fine leg and square leg back on the rope. There's the scoop again from Charlie Dean across the stumps. So again she gets it wrong. This time she manages to trickle it down to fine leg. I think off of a glove potentially, bit of bat involved as well. There was half an appeal from Liz Russell. Single picked up for Charlie Dean, 93 for 2. Well, there you go, there's your answer. She tried it again. Yep. 2 times without the right execution. Third time lucky perhaps.
They're made a stronger character than us, I think. These players these days.
Liz Russell to Georgia Adams. A boundary will bring up the 50. It's a dot ball into the offside. End of the 13th over. The Vipers 93 for 2. Georgia Adams 46. Charlie Dean 17. You're listening to BBC Radio Solent Sport live from the county ground in Hove. The Charlotte Edwards Cup back underway after a break for the 100. The wickets to fall for the Vipers. Maya Bouchier 13. She went off the bowling of Baker, caught behind the stumps by Hill and found the edge, and then Georgia Elwes run out by Kelly, a brilliant direct hit. Elwes dismissed 4-11 off 9 balls. There was a huge 6 in that 11.
I think the captain is bringing herself on now, Evelyn Jones.
She's seen enough, she says. She's going to try and get the job done herself. They need to break this partnership really. It's developing into a really good one for the Vipers. 93 for 2 from 13. You pleased with that so far from your Georgia Adams?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's a really good start. We just need to finish the job now. 7 overs to go. Evelyn Jones left arm over the wicket. She's bowled that a little bit back of the length, wide outside off stump, but Dean has pulled that to mid-wicket for a single. Evelyn Jones was quite prolific run scorer for Birmingham Phoenix in the 100. I think she was the 4th highest scorer in the competition. So we'll be seeing her with the bat later on, but she's coming in now for her 2nd delivery. And that has been driven through the offside again to Izzy Wong on the boundary out there for a single.
How about this then from the test match? England-India, 3rd test. India bowled out for 78.
Anderson get a few?
3 for Anderson.
Yeah, I think he had the first 3. That's a shorter ball from me. Charlie Dean tried to pull that, didn't make the connection she intended to, but got some kind of edge on it and it actually went behind the keeper for 4. So 4 to Charlie Dean. Oh, throw comes in, that's hit Charlie flush on the legs.
She's not doing too well out there today, Charlie Dean. 2 for Ollie Robinson, 2 for Sam Curran, 3 for Craig Overton. England 14 without loss in their first innings.
Excellent start.
Great start. Great bowling.
In comes Jones. That's a full ball that's been pushed to backward point for no run. Charlie Dean on strike. Score moves on to 99 for 2.
Wind's just died down again as well. The flag away to our right, completely still.
In comes Jones. That's just back to the length. Charlie Dean's tried to steer that down third man. It went a little bit squarer than she'd hoped. Just found point for a dot ball. Comes Jones past the umpire. Oh, that's going to be a wide delivery. I think that was a slightly slower ball as well, but she's just pushed that wide of Charlie Dean's off stump, and Charlie Dean chose to leave that ball, play no shot, and a wide was given. So that brings up the 100. There's a ripple of applause from the crowd. Always seems a bit awkward cheering on a wide, but the 100 has come up. Jones into Dean. That's a better ball. Dean's just pushed that into the offside for a dot ball. So that's a good end to the over. 100 for 2 off 14. Georgia Adams on 47. Charlie Dean moves on to 22.
I think we may well see a change of bowling from the far end as well. Liz Russell has headed off to field on the boundary at deep square leg, so she's not going to be bowling.
Izzy Wong.
Izzy Wong coming back on. Well, we did say whether they'd save her till right to the end, or maybe bring her on for a burst to try and break this partnership. Central Sparks need it to be broken. Georgia Adams on strike. Izzy Wong from the far side, the Cromwell Road end. In at the toes of Adams. Jabs down on the ball. Come through for the single. Adam moves on to 48. The Vipers 101 for 2. You feel for Izzy Wong then. Slight change in it for Charlie Dean. 3 back on the leg side. Third man back on the offside, everyone else in a tight ring. Izzy Wong right arm over the wicket, slower, looping it into top edge, leading edge, back towards the bowler. Izzy Wong at full stretch with her right hand. Couldn't claim it, there was a direct hit then as well. Charlie Dean had made her ground, not out. Can take the single on to 23 off 27, the Vipers 102 for 2. Brings Georgia Adams back onto strike, who's edging ever closer to that half century. She's on 48. Got a sweeper on the offside. Deep square leg, fine leg, and third man of the fielder's back. Everyone else in the ring. Right arm over the wicket from Wong. Full and straight, driven away by Georgia Adams. Fielded at extra cover. Dot ball, no run. Georgia Adams just remarks her guard and strolls up the wicket. Has a little look at Charlie Dean, prods the pitch, moves back to the crease, sets herself ready for the next delivery, the 4th of the over from Izzy Wong. In off the long run again in front of the black sight screen. Short, pulled away by Georgia Adams. 1 bounce, 2 bounce, 3, and all the way over the rope for 4. A quite brilliant half century for Georgia Adams comes up off just 43 balls. Leading from the front again for the Vipers. The Vipers on to 106 for 2. Georgia Adams 52. She raises her bat and receives the applause from the crowd in the pavilion away to our left. Brilliant batting from the skipper.
It's been a really comfortable knock so far as well. There's been a few chances for the Sparks, but I don't think any of them have been Adams. So she's looked in no trouble at all so far.
Solid again. Izzy Wong short again pulled away by Georgia Adams. Again, back-to-back boundaries. 4 runs for Georgia Adams. 2 short deliveries from Izzy Wong. Georgia Adams quickly onto the back foot, punching them into the leg side. She's on to 56. The Vipers 110 for 2. They're creeping away from the Central Sparks in this first innings. Georgia Adams on for a big total as she continues this way. Changing the field. 3 back on the leg side now. Cow corner, deep square leg. fine legs back. Third man's going back to the boundary as well. Everyone else in on the offside. There's a mid-on the leg side. Issy Wong in again. This one's cut away on the offside. It's going to be a third consecutive boundary for Georgia Adams. Expensive stuff from Wong, brought back into the attack to try and get the breakthrough. 3 fours in a row for Georgia Adams. She moves on to 60. The Vipers 114 for 2 at the end of the 15th over. 5 to go, going along very nicely. That was a really expensive over from Wong.
Yeah, I think the Vipers will be really happy with that. Obviously, they're missing Danny Wyatt today, who backs up the order for them. But you know, the runs are coming at the minute, and Vipers are doing really well. I think obviously the Sparks are missing, as you said earlier, Emily Arlott and Georgia Davis, who are their main wicket takers in this competition. And without taking those wickets, we've obviously seen a really nice partnership develop here. We've got Eve Jones coming back on at the CN for her second over. She comes in, left arm over the wicket, bowls a slower ball that Charlie Dean has thrown her hands through to the offside. They're thinking about a second. Georgia Adams wanted one, but sent back by Charlie Dean, so just a single. I probably should mention Eve Jones's club here. She plays her cricket at Port Hill Park in Staffordshire, which is a club I'd not come across until a week ago, when their under-15 girls beat my under-15 girls in the national final up in Liverpool. So Eve Jones comes in again. That's a Yorker that's just pushed into the onside for a single.
So you know all about them now?
I know all about them now, especially their under-15s, which looked a very promising bunch. Eve Jones, obviously these girls that play in the Charlotte Edwards Cup and also the 100 don't get to play a lot for their clubs, but she has played a game this season for them, so that would have been great for them to have her back. Over the wicket, that's a full ball driven down the ground to long on for a single. Eve Jones had a little dive there, kind of hope for a caught and bowl, but I don't think the catch was on. My club Hursley Park got to the national finals. Both Portshill Park and Hursley Park won their semis, and they had a very strong bowling attack, kept us down to 99, and then knocked off the runs quite easily. So yeah, they looked a really, really strong side. But that's Eve Jones's club.
Producing some good cricketers, clearly.
And she comes another full ball. Georgia Adams just flicks that onto the leg side for a single. Picked up by Thea Fackrell into the gloves of the keeper for another single. I think the Sparks will be happy with singles at the moment. They've just got to keep those boundaries down. In comes Jones. Charlie Dean's had his bat's going to go up in the air. That's gone over the head of Marie Kelly in extra cover. Not really much control in that shot from Charlie Dean. She just sort of threw her hands a bit wide of the off stump, and it just floated over the head of Marie Kelly at extra cover. So they pick up a single, but it was a false shot from Charlie Dean. In comes Jones. That's a full toss. That's been driven through the offside. That is going to go for 4 as well. So it's another bad ball that Georgia Adams has had no problem with putting away at all. So at the minute it's the short balls, it's the full tosses that Georgia Adams is putting away, and then they're taking the singles off the good balls, and that's working out really well for the Vipers as they move on to 123 for 2.
Some of the chances as well that have gone in the end, none from Georgia Adams so far. She's been immaculate in her batting, but a few from Charlie Dean, one from Georgia Elwes. Earlier on in the innings, frustration in terms of where the balls dropped for the Central Sparks. A couple of that maybe should have been taken, but some as well have just been so agonisingly close to fingertips. And
I think it's those ones that don't have any pace on them. I think Boucher had one as well, and it does, just like that last one there, just floats over you. If it sort of goes hard past you, you think, maybe that was half a chance because it was hit hard. But when they just sort of tantalisingly float over you when you're on the ring, those are the ones that are quite irritating as a bowler and a fielder.
The partnership between Adams and Dean now at 69, going along really nicely. Adams with 12 fours in her 66, coming off just 48 balls. Charlie Dean 3 boundaries, all 4s from her 26 off 30 deliveries. Right arm over the wicket from Baker, who's brought back on for her final over from the Cromwell Road end. Darted in the pads of Charlie Dean. Dot ball, no run. Baker's ready to go again. Charlie Dean just moves away, takes her time to the leg side, comes back to the crease. Baker loopy, full toss, reverse pull shot from Charlie Dean. And the ball hits the advertising board right down in front of us as it rolls away for 4. A puff of the cheeks from the skipper, Evie Jones, who comes down to collect the ball. Not much she can do about that. It's going to be a free hit as well. That was a high full toss from Baker. No ball. Dispatched in very stylish circumstances by Charlie Dean with a reverse pull shot for 4. She's on to 30. The Vipers 128 for 2. Free hit slapped into the offside by Charlie Dean. She's going to sprint through for the single. Easy pickings. 129 for 2. Dean on to 31. That brings Georgia Adams back onto strike. She's 66. We're in the 17th over live on BBC Radio Solent Sport. Double header in terms of cricket today. We've got the Vipers now in the Charlotte Edwards Cup. We've got the Hampshire Hawks to come later in the T20 Blast quarter-finals. Georgia Adams pulls a full toss away. One bounce 4 into the advertising boards away to the leg side. Sloppy bowling from Hannah Baker. She's brought back into the attack. 2 full tosses dispatched by the Vipers. One by Dean and then the second by Adams. They're 133 for 2. Georgia Adams on to 70. Baker in again, short, back of a length, pulled away again by Georgia Adams. She picks the gap on the leg side between the 2 fielders. Back-to-back boundaries again for Georgia Adams. It's really impressive stuff. She's on 74 from just 50 deliveries. It's just all too easy for the Vipers captain.
That was a really class shot because, I mean, it wasn't a great delivery and deserved to be put away for 4, but those 2 fielders on the leg side weren't that far apart, so to be able to split those is a real sign of the sort of form that she's in at the moment.
Izzy Wong sprints in to give some advice to Baker, who bowls right arm over the wicket, pulled away again by Georgia Adams. Not enough power on the shot this time to beat the 2 fielders. Izzy Wong does the fielding, just the single picked up for Adams. 138 for 2, the Vipers now. Adams on to 75. Brings Charlie Dean back on to strike. Final ball of the over and of the spell coming up for Hannah Baker. It's another full toss. It's another reverse sweep this time from Charlie Dean. He doesn't beat the fielder at backward point, Evie Jones, the skipper doing the fielding. Dot ball, no run, and Dean will feel she missed out there. Probably went a bit early on the reverse.
Yeah, perhaps she actually played it fairly well, but picked out the fielder a few yards either side there, and that probably would have run away for 4, but they had a fielder there for that occasion, and she ended up with a dot ball.
Current run rate just up over 8. The end of the 17th over, the Southern Vipers 138 for 2. Adams 75, Dean 31, the 2 wickets to fall. Maya Bouchier earlier on for 13, Georgia Elwes for 11. As we were saying, Hampshire Hawks to come away at Notts later at 7 o'clock with Kevin James.
Eve Jones bowling to Georgia Adams. That one, another tantalising one. She's driven that through sort of wide long off, and again it just sort of floated over the fielder that was just on the ring, but it's gone all the way for 4. It was aerial and not under complete control, but the Vipers move on to 142 for 2, and I think that's the first half chance that Adams has given away today. Yeah,
and you said it, another tantalising one for the Sparks. Just another couple of inches, and there may well have been a catch. But yeah, first half chance from Georgia Adams.
Stays on strike as Jones comes in again. That's a good Yorker. There's an appeal there for LBW to umpire name, and she's not interested in the wicket, but she gives a leg by. That was a good Yorker from Jones there.
Pitched outside the leg stump, maybe. It was quite full, wasn't it?
It was quite full, yeah.
Left arm over the wicket, going to struggle against the right-hander.
To Charlie Dean this time. Again, another full ball. Hits on the pads. There's an appeal for stumping, and that is given. That looked like really tidy work from the keeper, Chloe Hill, there. Charlie Dean tried to flick that off her pads. I think it might have even hit her pads. So could have been a bit of a deflection there, but the keeper was quick with the gloves there, whipped the bails off, and Charlie Dean could not get back. and she's given out, and Charlie Dean goes for 31 off 35 balls. That's been a really important contribution, supporting her captain there.
Yeah, great stuff from Dean, but really good work behind the stumps there from Chloe Hill. She had to react quickly. It was all a bit of a mess to look at from this far end, but the Sparks won't mind at all. The stumps all over the place. Charlie Dean's making her way back to the dressing room. It's going to be Paige Schofield coming in to join the skipper Georgia Adams at the crease.
Paige Schofield's one of the ones, she did have a 100 contract. She was in the Brave squad, but she didn't get a game. She was part of the squad for the whole tournament, but so she hasn't been out in the middle having a bat like some of the others. So this will be her first time in sort of a competitive match since the Charlotte Edwards Cup before the 100. She's on strike now as Jones comes in. That's a slow ball, and Schofield just pushes that into mid-wicket for an easy single.
89, that partnership between Georgia Adams and Charlie Dean, really important one. Could well be a match-winning partnership. We will wait and see.
Captain Georgia Adams on strike now as Jones runs in, captain to captain. And that's a nice half volley outside off stump that Georgia Adams has driven through extra cover, but Izzy Wong still out there making sure that that's just kept down to a single.
Adams on to 80, 2 overs to go. She's going to have that 100 in the back of her mind, surely.
In comes Jones, that's a full toss. Adams misses out on this one. She's crushed that through the offside, but it's fielded in the ring at extra cover for a dot ball. So the score is 145 off 18, 2 overs to go. 2 overs to go, 80 not out.
What do you think? Are we going to see a century?
That's quite a big ask.
It's a big ask, but the way she's batting...
It depends how much strikes she gets.
What have we got? Izzy Wong's going to...
Got one left.
Take this one, yeah. I mean, we saw in her last over, if she gets it wrong, Georgia Adams will punish her easily. 3 consecutive 4s for 16, and she's nearly there. Should that happen again? I know it's not that simple, but she's on strike.
Her short ball's got punished square of the wicket, but she's got quite a wide fine leg. But for her pace, I would have thought they would be a bit finer. So anything sort of straying down legs, if Georgia Adams can just get a bit of bat on it, I think that will be 4 runs. Yeah,
interesting. She's just moved square leg, is on the rope, a little bit squarer. Izzy Wong then, right arm over the wicket, full toss, pulled away by Adams. 1 bounce, is it going to squeak over the boundary for 4? No, not quite. May well have been a drop on the rope away to our left as well. Either way, it was a really good stop at full stretch on the dive from Marie Kelly, I think it is, out there. Just the 2 runs picked up by Georgia Adams, though. She moves on to 82. Izzy Wong in again, right arm over from the Cromwell Road end, the far side. Fuller, straighter this time, flicked into the leg side. Didn't get hold of it, Georgia Adams. Will scamper through for the single. I think it's going to be leg byes. It is. The Vipers on to 147 for 3. Adams still on 82. 4 balls of the over left. Paige Schofield just marks her guard. Wong in again off that long run up. Into her stride. Top edge straight up into the air and caught.
Gwen Davies.
Gwen Davies takes the catch. Paige Schofield goes for 1, makes little impact on the Vipers' innings. Good bowling from Izzy Wong, and well watched by Gwen Davies. Always horrible, those ones. Didn't go really high, but was in the air for a little while. One you'd say should be a really easy catch, but as we know, they never are that easy. But she watched the ball well, took a good catch in the end. Another wicket falls. The Vipers 148 for 4. That will bring... I'm going to have a guess and say, is it Emily Windsor to the crease? No, maybe not.
coming in from the far side to us. It looks like Emily to me.
It is, yes, Emily Windsor.
Emily.
At the non-striker's end, as they both cross, Georgia Adams back on strike to face Izzy Wong. Fourth ball of the over, right arm over the wicket, full and straight, right in the toes of Georgia Adams. She gets back on the ball and it squeezes it down to fine leg. Picks up the single. Adams moves on to 83, 148 for 4 now, the Vipers. Emily Windsor on strike to face her first ball. Of course, BBC Radio Solent commentator Emily Windsor out doing the day job this afternoon. Facing up to Izzy Wong, right arm over the wicket. Full toss, pulled away by Windsor. Looked like she wanted to be on the advance down the track then, just held her ground. Flicked the ball away rather than really hitting it hard. And then practices a more powerful shot at the non-striker's end, having picked up the single. The Vipers bring up the 150 for the loss of 4 wickets off 18.5 overs. Georgia Adams, the star of the show so far, 83 not out. She's on strike for the final ball of the over. Izzy Wong, right arm over the wicket. Adams comes charging down the track. Izzy Wong just taking a bit of pace off the ball, sending it outside the off stump. It was a swipe from Adams. It was a dot ball, no run. At the end of the 19th then, 1 over to go of this Vipers innings. They are going along very nicely. 150 for 4. Georgia Adams 83 off 58 deliveries. Emily Windsor, the new batter to the crease. After the wicket of Paige Schofield fell in that last Izzy Wong over. That was the first wicket for Izzy Wong as well, and brings an end to her 4 overs. She's gone for 21 runs. Just that 1 wicket picked up, that of Paige Schofield in that last over. Economy rate 5.25. The Vipers run rate just dropping below 8. I'll be pretty pleased with how things have gone in this first innings, of course, having lost the toss and been put into bat by the Central Sparks. You're listening to BBC Radio Solent Sport live from the county ground in Hove. It's the Charlotte Edwards Cup. Gemma Green will take you through this final over.
We've got Eve Jones coming in to bowl at Emily Windsor. That's a really full ball, Yorker length, that have squirted down to third man. They've scampered a 2 there. Emily Windsor is super quick between the wickets, and she was running to the danger end, backed herself, and they got in for 2 runs there off an edge.
Yeah, good running from Emily Windsor in the last over, keeping the pressure on the Sparks, making sure they take absolutely every run available.
Jones to Windsor, better length ball, and Windsor just pushed that into the offside for a single. Vipers are in a really comfortable position here. When you're batting first and you've got runs on the board like they have, which I think they'll be feeling is enough. And this last over, wickets in hand, 1 batter on strike, it's just anything as a bonus. So it's a really nice position for the Vipers to be in. In comes Jones. George Adams tries to flick that down leg side, doesn't really get a piece of it. I think it's come off the pads, and they run through. Oh no, it's wide. Sorry, came off the keeper's gloves. They run a wide there, so that's 2 more to the score.
Bonus.
The score moves on to 155 with 4 deliveries left in the innings. In comes Jones over the wicket. That's a slower ball pitched up to Windsor. They take on the run. I think a direct hit would have seen the back of Windsor there, but the fielder misses, and they make it through for the single.
The ground fielding's been really good from the Central Sparks this afternoon. We obviously had the direct hit, good stumping, and some good fielding out on the rope.
In comes Jones, and she's thrown her hands through that, and that is going to go 1 bounce forward down the wicket on the offside. Georgia Adams moves on to 87.
That was a lovely shot, pure timing, just so relaxed the way she sent her hands through the
line
ball.
of the ball, and she made that look really easy. She stays on strike on 87 as Jones comes in past the umpire. Again, another slower ball. She had a bit more of a swipe at that leg side, and that's gone to long on for a single. Georgia Adams on 88, Emily Windsor currently on 5, and there is one ball to come. For the final delivery, in comes Jones from the C end, pitched up to Emily Windsor, who drives that to long on for a single. She thought about an overthrow, but the keeper's there to back up that throw. So the innings ends on 162 for 4. Adams unbeaten on 88 off 60 balls, and Emily Windsor on 6 not out off 5.
Yeah, brilliant innings from the Vipers. They'll be really pleased with that 162 for the loss of just 4 wickets having been put into bat by the Central Sparks. As Gemma just said there, a quite brilliant 88 not out from the captain, Georgia Adams. So regularly a star of the show for the Vipers, and again this afternoon carrying her bat from the start, opening up. Charlotte Edwards, who of course this competition is named after, the first one up, to give a hug to Georgia Adams, who raises her bat in the air, receives a standing ovation from the supporters in the pavilion away to our left hand side. A fantastic display of patience and of big hitting at times as well, putting the bad balls away. Great stuff from Georgia Adams. We will be back for the second innings and the conclusion of this game very shortly via the BBC Sport website and app, and of course the online feed as well for the Southern Vipers around the world, if you are watching wherever you are watching for, to see if the Central Sparks can chase down this total. Eve Jones finishes her set then as well with 4 overs for 34 runs, no wickets, and an economy rate of 8.5. It will be 163 to win for the Central Sparks when the players re-emerge out onto the pitch. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with you very soon. Welcome back to the county ground in Hove ahead of the Central Sparks innings as they try and chase down 163 for victory against the Southern Vipers in the Charlotte Edwards Cup. Live on BBC Radio Solent Sport, the players are back out in the middle. If you missed the first innings, it was a quite brilliant display by the Southern Vipers captain George Adams, hitting 88 not out, carrying her bat from the start, opening up for the Vipers, who were put into bat having lost the toss by the Sparks. Adams 88 not out with 16 fours in amongst that innings. Will be Charlotte Taylor to open up for the Vipers from the far end, the Cromwell Road end. Delivers her first ball, right arm round the wicket, the spinner. It's pushed into the offside by Eve Jones, the captain for the Central Sparks, and they pick up a single. Up and running are the Sparks, one without loss. Alongside Jones opening up is Marie Kelly, wearing the number 23 shirt. In terms of the field positions for the Vipers, we've got a sweeper back on the offside, one back on the leg side as well, deep square leg. We've got a first slip as well in the form of captain Georgia Adams. Taylor, right arm over the wicket, swept into the leg side by Marie Kelly. Picks up the single. She's going to come back for the second as well. Good running by Eve Jones to make her way back to the non-striker's end. The Sparks on to 3. Kelly 2, Jones 1. Kelly back on to strike. Charlotte Taylor turns and bowls quickly. A little bit quicker outside the off stump. Beats the outside edge, but there is a wide signalled by the umpire. Ben Debenham. 4 for the Sparks now. Taylor comes in again, right arm over the wicket. Sweep shot again from Marie Kelly. Misses the ball again. This one is gathered behind the stumps by Carla Rudd. Dot ball, no run. First dot ball for Taylor. Right arm over the wicket. Reverse sweep this time by Marie Kelly. She tries the other side of the wicket and gets the boundary. 4 runs, her first of the innings. Well executed reverse sweep, that one by Marie Kelly. The Central Sparks 8 without loss. Kelly on to 6, Jones 1. 2 balls left of the over with the wide in it. Brings me the chance very quickly to bring in Gemma Green alongside me for commentary. Gemma, what's your thinking then? Vipers got enough? The Sparks going to chase this down?
At half time I thought they had enough. I still do, but Sparks have definitely come out with intent from ball 1 here. Come
out with real intent. There's another boundary there for the Sparks. Consecutive for Marie Kelly. First the reverse sweep, and then she's down on one leg again. Sweeping this time away to the leg side. More conventional through cow corner all the way to the boundary for 4. Sparks on to 12 without loss from this opening over. There's still 1 ball to come. Georgia Adams is coming out of first slip. She's going to go and have a chat with Charlotte Taylor, the bowler. They're going to send Maya Bouchier back to the boundary at cow corner. The sweeper on the offside is coming up into the ring. Georgia Adams has gone into mid-wicket. Charlotte Taylor again outside the off stump. Another reverse sweep for Marie Kelly. The sprint is on for Lauren Bell. She's not going to get there. 3 consecutive boundaries to finish the over for the Sparks from Marie Kelly. They start off with 16 runs from that first over, an expensive one, and unlike Charlotte Taylor, usually the star of the show for the Vipers.
Yeah, she's the Vipers' most economical bowler to date, so like you say, that is definitely out of character, but credit to Marie Kelly there, played those reverse sweeps really well, connected brilliantly with them, and moves them on to 16 for naught off 1 over. Manoeuvred
the field really well as well, Gemma. Yeah. Obviously, Georgia Adams took herself out of first slip, may well have stopped that third reverse sweep, which was quite fine had she have stayed in at first slip.
It's always a mini battle, isn't it, that you've won when you get to move the field as a batter, and to do it that early on in the innings will be a sort of mini victory to the Sparks. From the other end, from the C end, we've got Lauren Bell opening, so we've got pace from Bell. She normally swings it into a right-hander, but we've got a left-hander on strike, so it'll be moving away from Eve Jones. She comes over the wicket, and that's a half volley. Jones has connected with that well, but hits it straight to Charlie Dean at point for no run.
Good cricket that was a solid shot, really well taken by Charlie Dean in the field. That would have stung, I think.
Lauren Bell was opening the bowling for Brave in the 100 as well, with Anya Shrubsole on the power play, so she'll be used to coming in at this situation. That's a really good ball, really good length, and that's just forward defend into the offside for another dot ball.
Intimidating figure as well for any batter. Lauren Bell charging in from that long run up, really tall.
Really tall. I think they call her the Shard in the team. She comes in still bowling over the wicket to the left-hander. Again, pushed into the offside, no run. Really good disciplines here from Lauren Bell. She did have a little issue with her line at the start of the summer. In the beginning of the Vipers campaign, she did bowl quite a few wides, and it was sort of becoming a little bit of an issue, but over the course of the summer, through the Vipers games and then the Southern Brave games, she seems to have found that discipline in her line, and started really well here at Hove today. She comes in for her fourth ball. Oh, again, that's a little bit wider. It enticed Eve Jones into a cut, but she played a missed at that, and it went straight through to Carla Rudd, who stands back to the pace of Lauren Bell.
Nasty one for Rudd. I think it's just caught her on the thumb as well behind the stumps, bounced right in front of her. The Shard for Lauren Bell, I like that. Very clever. Does she like it?
I've no idea. So no runs off this over so far. She comes in, bowls to Jones. She's tried to push that into the offside, got a little edge there. It's run down to third man, and that's a single off the fifth ball. So really pulling this start back for the Vipers is Lauren Bell. So we've got a right-hander on strike now. She does, as I say, she swings the ball into the right-hander early on in the innings. So Kelly, who's 14 off 5 balls, is facing her first ball from Lauren Bell. She comes in past the umpire. That's been fired down the leg side, and the keeper's back, fumbles that, and they come through for an extra run off the wide. So 2 wides off that ball, 1 still to come. In the over brings captain Eve Jones back on strike.
Yeah, much better over from the Vipers after an expensive first one.
That didn't carry properly through to the keeper either. I say properly in terms of length. I don't know if she's
maybe misread things a little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit too far back.
She's obviously kept to Bell a lot of times, so that won't be an issue. But maybe it's something's a bit different today. As she comes in over the wicket, Eve Jones has just sort of prodded forward at that, but it's gone through to the keeper for a dot ball. So that over pulled it back a little bit for the Vipers. Just 19 for naught now off 2. So that was just 3 off that over. The 1 to Kelly and 2 wides.
Good stuff from Lauren Bell. The required run rate even, if I can get my words out, for the Sparks is 8 and over, up at 9.5 after a good start from the opening 2 for them.
We said that obviously the Vipers scored a quite brilliant 163. It's not the highest score in this group today. South East Stars piled on 175 for 6 against Lightning. The format of this competition is that the 8 teams that play in the Rachel Hayhoe Flint, they're split into 2 groups of 4, and our group is this game here plus Lightning and Surrey Stars that are playing each other at Woodbridge Road in Guildford today. But yeah, so Lightning have got 176 to chase, so they've got a taller order than Sparks have here.
We're commentating from the CN this afternoon. There's a change of bowling opposite us at the Cromwell Road end. Charlotte Taylor, after an expensive first, has been taken off. Tara Norris into the attack. Left arm over the wicket, pulled away into the leg side. Good fielding away to our left out on the ropes. It'll just be the single for Marie Kelly. Just a little bit too short there from Tara Norris. Nice lines, have to try and work that length out. That brings the skipper Eve Jones back onto strike. She's 2 from 7 balls. Kelly onto 15 from 6. Sparks 20 without loss. Got Emily Windsor away to our right, back on the rope at deep square leg for the left-hander. Of course, Jones, the left-hander, the skipper, fine legs back as well. Left arm over the wicket from Norris. Driven into the offside. Well fielded by Paige Schofield. That was a horrible bounce as well, right in front of her. She did really well. Made sure body was behind the ball as well as hands, just for that extra protection. Dot ball, no run. Tara Norris will stroll back towards mark at the top of her run. Flicks the ball up and down in her hands once and then twice, and then starts her run up. In she comes, flies into the crease, sends that one down the leg side. That'll be a wide. It is signalled by the umpire Ben Debenham. 21 without loss. The Sparks. Still blue skies overhead here in Hove. Pigeons and seagulls everywhere at the moment, flying around the pitch, creating shadows on the wicket. I imagine that's because there's a few fish and chips out and about from the spectators away to our left during the interval. Tara Norris in again, left arm over the wicket, pulled away by Jones. Didn't get hold of that one, frustrated with herself, fielded it mid-on, dot ball, no run. Missed out there. You're listening to BBC Radio Solent Sport on your Wednesday afternoon. Double header of cricket today. We've got the Hampshire Hawks away at the Notts Outlaws in the T20 Blast quarter-finals later on this evening, 7 o'clock, with Kevin James. Up at Trent Bridge as Norris comes in again, left arm over the wicket. That one slapped into the offside by Eve Jones. Good fielding again by Schofield away to our left, who gets up and shakes her hand off. That one stung. More good fielding from Schofield in the covers. Dot ball again, no run. Hand on hip for Eve Jones, frustrated having missed out on 2 possible boundaries. We've got Southampton in action as well in the football, and the League Cup second round to come later on this evening as well. They're away at Newport. That's a 7:45 kick-off. We'll have both the cricket and the football on the radio for you across our different frequencies. Tara Norris in, left arm over the wicket. That one's down the leg side. May have caught the pad. Dot ball, no wide given, it did. And the umpire just signalling it caught the thigh pad. Good bowling again from Norris, even though her line strayed just a little bit. Of course, any reaction we get here as well, we'll try and get off and speak to some of the team. May hopefully have a catch up with the likes of Maya Bouchier and Charlie Dean following their England call-ups. Maybe a word with Georgia Adams, the skipper, as well, after a brilliant 88 in the first innings. Tara Norris just tweaking the field slightly. Got Charlotte Taylor away to our right, sort of in a fly slip position. That one's driven up to mid-off, dot ball, no run. More frustration for Eve Jones. Turns away and shakes her head. Dot ball to end the over. That's better from the Vipers. The Sparks 21 without loss. Jones on 2. Kelly alongside her on 15. They're chasing 163 to win this Charlotte Edwards Cup match. Jim was just telling you the format and how it all works. Of course, the Vipers top of their group, Group A, at the moment. It is the team top that will go through automatically to the final on finals day, or the best top team, I should say, as you said. And of course, it'll be at the Ageas Bowl, which is great to see as well for the local area and cricket in the local area, and spectators will be able to get along to that and see some of the best players in action, Gemma.
Yeah, it'll be another great day, another finals day. We've had T20 finals there in the men's before, so to have the first Charlotte Edwards finals day at the Ageas Bowl will be great for the South Coast. In comes Bell to Kelly. That's gone down the leg side. That's going to be signalled a wide, and they've come through for another run again. So 2 wides again from this end. Bell just needs to find that that line again that she had in the first few deliveries of her first over. Brings the left-hander on strike. That's something that Vipers have got to deal with when the strike's being rotated. They have got a left-right-hand combination which you don't see a lot of in the women's game. So the left-hander on strike now. In comes Bell. Been pushed into the offside, but they're packed in the offside in the ring with fielders, and she can't get it through there, so it's a dot ball. They've got a tight ring on the offside through that sort of backward point cover, extra cover region. For Bell, the two fielders they've got out on the ropes are deep mid-wicket and a wide third man. Everyone else in the ring for this power play. She comes in, bowls to Jones. Jones comes down the wicket for that one, advances down, and she's driven that over long on for a one bounce four. That was a really positive shot from Jones. She's looked like she's been struggling to time the ball a little bit so far, but that was a really good shot down the ground.
I was just going to say, very early days, but she's been looking for that, hasn't she?
Yeah.
She's been frustrated so far. Finally, she gets the timing right, as you said. Sends one to the rope. Maybe that'll just settle her down a little bit.
Sends it to the rope and through the advertising boards and into the empty stand. So I think
that'll be running down the road all the way to the beach here at Hove, I think.
I think Georgia Elwish has gone after it. And she's disappeared from our sight, so, like you say, it might have gone to the beach.
I'm not even joking. I think it's downhill as well. Here comes the ball. It's finally come back. Maya Bouchier's on to help out as well. It literally did find the gap which takes you out onto the road which leads into the county ground here at Hove, the one we drive in to get to the car park, which if you do carry on walking down it will take you down to the seafront. Not very far away. That would be a big hit though.
In comes Bell over the wicket. And that ball's back to the length, and Jones just pulls that to the leg side for a single. She didn't try to hit that too hard, she just sort of nudged that really for an easy single. Brings the score for the Sparks up to 28 for no loss in the fourth over of this power play. We've got Kelly back on strike, who's currently 15 off 6 balls. In comes Bell past the umpire, and that's a good length ball. That could be a chance. That's another one of those. How many of those have we seen today? She's just pushed that over the stretching arm of Georgia Adams at long on, who's in the ring, and it's trickled away to the boundary for a 4.
Georgia Adams has stayed down as well. She's putting a really big dive away to our left. Looks like she's hurt herself.
She looks like she's hobbling.
I thought for a second she was just staying down because she was frustrated she hadn't got a hand on the ball in her attempt to catch it, but I think she really landed heavily there.
Oh, that's a full toss. That's going to be called a no ball for height. Kelly has pulled that into the leg side for 1. They think about 2, settle for the 1, and it will be a no ball. That one just came out of the hand a bit wrong and was just above waist height. So
free hit coming up.
Be a free hit, but they can change the field. It's a new batter on strike and also obviously a left-hander as well, so they can change the field if they wish, which I'm sure they will anyway, as I say, for the left-hander. Yeah, someone on cows going out. Oh no, halfway out.
I don't know what's going on out there as well with all that banging. Someone's moving some scaffolding around, I think.
So Eve Jones on strike for this free hit, and she gives it a smash. It's caught at extra cover, but obviously it's a free hit, so that doesn't count. The run out is still on though, so Tara Norris threw that in for a run out, but Eve Jones was comfortably home. So the free hit, the Vipers got away with that. It was just 1 run off the free hit.
I think some members of the crowd away to our left hadn't spotted the free hit signal from the umpire, and were delighted with the catch, thinking it was a wicket. In
comes Bell to Kelly, and Kelly tries to pull that down the leg side, misses it, but it's gone down the leg side for a wide, so the extra's becoming a little bit of an issue here for Vipers. They've got runs on the board, they've got runs to play with, but I think they'll still be disappointed with the number of extras they're giving away. Kelly on strike. Here he comes. That's a slower ball, pitched up, and Kelly tried to drive that through the offside, but it was a player miss straight through to the keeper for a dot ball as that over comes to an end, and the score is 36-0. Kelly is on 20, and the skipper Eve Jones on 8.
Elsewhere in the competition, the South East Stars 175 for 6 from their 20 overs. The Lightning are 26 for 2, chasing down 176 for victory, and the Thunder were 100 for the loss of 9 wickets from their 20 overs. Western Storm are 34 for 3 from just over 6 overs, chasing 101 for victory in that one. And the Sunrisers are 28 for 2, chasing 121 for victory against the Northern Diamonds. Here at the county ground in Hove, in the sunshine, all of those clouds near enough have vacated the area that were around earlier on. Almost pure blue sky overhead. There is a few still in the distance. Tara Norris is bowling again from the Cromwell Road end. Left arm over the wicket, nudged into the leg side by the captain for the Central Sparks, Eve Jones, for the single. The Sparks move on to 36 without loss. Jones on 8, Kelly's on 20. She's back on strike now. The Vipers still looking for that breakthrough. Best chance of the game coming in the last over. One tossed up into the air and just agonisingly close for Georgia Adams, diving away to her left. Wasn't able to get anything on it in the end. She did hurt herself as well with the dive as she landed, but she's back up on her feet. Looks to be moving much better in this over now. Tara Norris just turns at the top of her run again in the far side. It's a little shuffle to start her run up, and she comes to her bowling stride, delivers it full and straight. It's played into the leg side by Kelly. She'll pick up another single. They're keeping the strike rotating nicely, the Central Sparks at the moment. Current run rate 8.8, up and above the 8 required, so they'll be pretty pleased with how things are going so far. Brings the skipper Jones back on to strike. Left-hander, we've got a fielder back at deep square leg, one on the offside covering as well. Jones moves right across her stumps, outside, way outside her off stump, tries to flick the ball over fine leg with the little scoop shot. Didn't time it, didn't make any kind of connection. Dot ball, no run. Good bowling, may well have read that, I think, Tara Norris, and saw the early move there from Jones. Just readjusted her line slightly. Norris turns again. Little 1-2 shuffle up and down. Bowls, left arm over the wicket. Ball just died in the pitch. Jones didn't really move her feet very well and was reaching for it outside her off stump. Dot ball. Jones goes and does a bit of gardening up the wicket where the ball bounced, where it died in the pitch. Just prods the turf. There was a bit of green on the wicket to start the day. Still a tinge to it. It doesn't look quite as green as it did earlier. May well just be the way the light is moving across the pitch. Tara Norris is in, bowls again. Jones comes down the wicket, jabs the ball down, the bat down on the ball as it's fired in at her toes, and she almost yorks herself and squeezes it somehow off the inside edge, and it will run all the way down in front of us through fine leg over the boundary rope for 4. She didn't know much about it, did Eve Jones, but she will certainly take the boundary. Lauren Bell unable to chase it down. The Central Sparks 42 without loss. Jones on to 13. Vipers just need to get themselves on top of this Sparks innings. Certainly won't want this partnership to develop much further. Tara Norris into bowl again from the Cromwell Road end, the far end. Nice length, nice line outside the off stump. Swipe from Eve Jones. Misses the ball. Again, didn't quite carry through to Carla Rudd behind the stumps. Dot ball, no run, end of the 5th over. The Sparks 42 without loss. They're chasing 163 for victory, live on BBC Radio Solent.
Yeah, Sparks are going really well, 42 for naught as a team, but Eve Jones doesn't look that comfortable out there at the minute for someone who's coming out of the 100 off the back of sort of lots of runs, 200 odd runs, compared to Marie Kelly, who I think just played 1 game in the 100. so hasn't had that sort of run of batting out in the middle, but she's looking by far the more comfy of the two with the bat. But comfortable or not, they're both still there, 42 for naught, and Vipers will be aware of what Eve Jones can do if they don't get her out soon. We've got the introduction of Charlie Dean from the C end, who's bowling to Marie Kelly. Her first ball is pitched up and driven down the ground, and that may well go for 4. It has. It's gone straight down the ground for 4 runs. That's a great shot from Marie Kelly.
Yeah, just a loose one to start from Charlie Dean. She knew it, I think, as soon as she released it.
Yeah, just a little bit over pitch for her first delivery. She's coming in again over the wicket, and that's a better length. And Kelly tried to look for a single in the leg side there, but it wasn't there. I think Schofield was in on that dot ball. In comes Dean, and Kelly moves her feet down. That's going to be another 4 through wide long off. She moved her feet really well to that, and has just timed that really through long off. She didn't overhit that. So that's 2 4s off the first half of this over, so still all going the Sparks' way at the moment.
Great day for batting so far. Lots of boundaries out there.
In comes Dean. Again, she's got that on the half volley, and oh dear, there's a mix up in the field, and that could dribble for 4 because the outfield is quick, and it has. There were 2 Vipers fielders there, sort of on the floor. It was Georgia Elwis and Captain Georgia Adams. I don't know if there was a mix-up of communication, but they both ended up on the floor, and a ball that wasn't hit too hard, just timed, somehow found its way through the 2 of them, and all they could do was watch it dribble over the rope. So another 4 to Marie Kelly, another 4 to the Sparks. In comes Dean. This time she's had a bit more of a swipe at that, didn't time that, got a little bit of an under edge, and that's just dribbled to square leg for a dot ball.
Really poor fielding that from the ball a couple of moments ago from the Vipers, and I think more so, having made the mistake, they both then just kind of stayed down. May well have been able to chase that down and stop it reaching the rope.
It didn't go quickly, did it? Oh, this time Marie Kelly's come down the wicket, and she has quicked that over long on for a maximum. That's the first 6 of the Sparks innings. Goes to Marie Kelly, who moves on to 39 off just 16 balls. The end of that over, the score is 60 for naught, and momentum is all with Sparks at the moment.
That was a huge hit from Marie Kelly. She is batting really well. 39 off just 16 balls. Really taking the game in this run chase to the Southern Vipers, who, to be fair, haven't made life particularly difficult for her. Not the greatest of fielding, some really loose delivery so far as well. And Marie Kelly just sharing a little joke with her skipper and batting partner Evie Jones. They're kissing the bat after sending that 6 to the boundary. Vipers need a breakthrough, so they're going to bring on the person who often does that for them. Did have a rather expensive first over, did Charlotte Taylor. She's going to be brought back into the attack from the Cromwell Road end. And that banging you can hear in the background is on our effects microphone, which is up on the roof. I can only assume that is a bird pecking at the microphone. There's no one else up there that would be able to do that. There's a single off the first ball of the Charlotte Taylor over.
There are some big seagulls flying around. So.
Well, they need to leave our microphones alone. The banging, the other banging, I think, is just the builders moving the scaffolding around. So the Sparks on to 61, Kelly back on to strike on 39. Charlotte Taylor in discussion with Georgia Adams, her captain, about how to get this field right for Kelly, who has been very aggressive, very powerful. Very good so far. We've got long on, long off, both back. Deep mid-wicket. Deep square leg, sorry, I should say. Deep mid-wicket as well on the rope. And Kelly does the sensible thing and takes the single up to long off. As we look at it from the C end, opposite us. Score ticks over to 62. Kelly on to 40, just 10 away from a half century. That target will soon be under 100. Taylor, right on round the wicket to Eve Jones. drives one into the leg side, into the offside, the left-hander, all the way to the boundary for 4. She struggled for timing so far, Eve Jones, not on that occasion. That was a lovely shot. She's on to 18, the Sparks on to 66 without loss. And they're making very light work of this run chase so far. Their rate currently now up over 10 into double figures. They only need 7 and over, just over. Taylor in again, right on round the wicket to the left-handed Jones, who tries to flick one off her hips, gets it all wrong, and then just gets her foot back into the crease in time as well. Carla Rudd sniffing around for a stumping. Taylor round the wicket. Flight and loop and cramps Jones for a bit of room, but they'll scamper through with the Sparks for a single, and then sloppy again from the Vipers in the field. Overthrows. One, possibly, could have even been 2 there if the Sparks had been more alert. The throw into Carla Rudd wasn't a great one. She spilt it. Backing up was Lauren Bell, who had to do the tidying up, but then her throw at the stumps again was wide, and it nearly allowed for a 3rd run for the Sparks. It was just 2. Taylor in again, right arm round the wicket to Jones. Dot ball, no run. Charlotte Edwards will not be happy, I think, with the fielding that she's seen so far. And at the end of the 7th over, the Sparks are 68 without loss. They are chasing 163 for victory, so that total required total now down under 100, just 95 more needed for victory for the Sparks. It looked like a huge total. It's not looking quite so big now. Gemma Green's alongside me here at the county ground in Hove. Gemma, what is going wrong for the Vipers out there at the moment?
Yeah, they're just falling away a little bit as a team. Sort of none of the bowlers have really sort of stepped up yet. They've all bowled extras or loose balls, can all be accountable for something there. And then in the last few overs we saw the sloppy fielding with Elwes and Adams, and then in that one we saw 1 overthrow which nearly turned into 2 overthrows, and the Vipers just need to pull this back. They've got good disciplines, they've got good fielders, they've got good bowlers, they just need to reassign. They've just taken a drinks break, so maybe there was sort of a 20-second chat there of that kind of nature. And we've got a bowling change here at the C end. Georgia Elwes is coming on to bowl to Marie Kelly. Carla Rudd's coming up to the stumps for Georgia Elwes. Elwes has been really economical in this tournament as well. She just bowls that nagging line and length. She comes over the wicket. First one was just slightly back of a length and pulled to the leg side for a single. Brings Eve Jones on strike. There's a lot of movement in the field, obviously, as we've got the left-hand, right-hand strike rotation. We've now got 3 out. So for Eve Jones, they've got 3 out, sort of on the leg side. 1 at cow, and then 1 at square leg, and 1 at long on. So they've got a lot of protection in the cow corner region for Eve Jones, who just pushes it short of those fielders for a single. So that's clever batting. They don't need to do anything else at the minute. If it's a good ball there and there's a single on offer, they're quite happy to take that at this stage, having done a lot of hard work to be 70 for naught at this stage. In comes Elwes over the wicket, and Kelly just waited for that and pushed it to point for no run. So it's a good start for Elwes, just 1 off 3 balls. And she comes in bowling to Kelly. That's a good length ball. Just push. Kelly couldn't do anything with that other than just push it into the extra cover for a dot ball. She looked a little bit frustrated with that, which I think if I was 41 off 20, I think I'd accept a dot ball occasionally off a good ball.
She only deals in boundaries.
In comes Elwes. That's just back of the length. Again, another good ball. The bat's gone flying. They've just pushed it to leg side for a single. I'm not sure whose bat that was. It's actually Eve Jones's bat, so I don't know when she let go of that. She was the non-striker, but she ended up at the other end without the bat in hand, but it's been returned to her now. So Eve Jones is on strike for Elvis's final delivery of what has so far been one of the better overs of this innings for the Vipers.
Yeah, and they needed it. They really did.
In comes Elvis to Jones. And that's floated up, driven down the ground, and I spoke too soon.
Commentator's curse.
That has gone for 4 straight down the ground to have a slightly sour end to what was looking like a really good over. The score is 75 for 0 off 8.
That was a lovely shot as well. Nothing sweeter than one straight back down the ground past the bowler. Certainly not as a batter. What about the two teams then? Because you look at them out there, you've mentioned it throughout the course of the afternoon, the players that are missing, particularly from the bowling attack for the Sparks. It's only really Danny Wyatt for the Vipers. And when you look at the total they managed to put on, you'd say that they didn't really miss us. It's a really interesting contest developing out there today.
It really is. I say on paper, the bowling attack of Taylor, Bell, Norris, Dean and Elvis is probably one of the best attacks in this competition. They're all here today. They're not missing a bowler. They've got their full strength in terms of bowling attack. So I thought that was going to be a little bit too strong for the Sparks given the total they had to chase, but the Sparks have taken the game to them, put them under pressure, and they haven't bowled as well as they have been in this competition so far.
Change of ends for Charlie Dean. She's on from the far end, the Cromwell Road end. First ball of the over swept into the leg side by Kelly. She moves on to 43, picks up the single. The Sparks 76. They need 87 more for victory. Their run rate currently up over 9 and needs to be around 7 for the win. They're in cruise control at the moment, having not lost the wicket. Dean right arm round the wicket to the left-handed Jones. The skipper for the Sparks drives one into the offside, picks up a single. There's a sweeper out there away to our left. Easy pickings for Jones, rotates the strike, brings Kelly back on, changing the field then for the right-hander. We've got a sweeper away to our right on the offside, 2 back on the leg side, 3 in fact, and that one swept to short fine leg. Good fielding by Charlotte Taylor, dot ball, no run. There's a deep square leg, deep mid-wicket, long on is back on the rope as well. Not too straight, slightly to the left as we look at the pitch from here. Dean comes right arm over the wicket, swept into the leg side again. There's a chase on for Maya Bouchier. She doesn't get there. Well, she does. She can't stop the ball from going over the rope for 4. She stopped the ball, but she was in contact with the boundary rope, and I think it may well have trickled over itself in the end as well. Another boundary for Marie Kelly. She moves on to 47 from just 24 balls. She's got that half century in her sights and she more than deserves it. Dean, right arm over the wicket, cut away this time from Kelly, fielded it backward point. Dot ball, no run. They thought about the single. There was a bit of a spill there from Tara Norris doing the fielding. She got up and recovered well, and sensibly the Sparks decided against trying to nick the single. Dean again, right arm over the wicket, swept away by Kelly. Has she found the gap on the leg side? No, just the single. Good fielding away to our left by Paige Schofield. We've said that a few times already this afternoon. So just a single for Marie Kelly. She moves on to 48, but she'll keep the strike because at the end of the 9th over, the Sparks are 82 without loss. They need 81 more runs for victory, chasing 163. The captain Jones is alongside Marie Kelly on 26 from 29 deliveries. And Gemma Green is going to take you through this next over from the sea end here at the county ground, where the sun is still shining. And we thought that the Southern Vipers would be heading for a win after the first innings, but far from it. They are right up against it in this Charlotte Edwards Cup match.
They might have to stop playing Sparks at this ground in the future. It's obviously a bit of a bogus ground for them. Elvis comes in to Kelly, and that's just pushed into the leg side for a single. Elvis does the fielding off her own bowling as the field is set back in that position. Yeah, if they do knock this off, and it's still an if. They've made an incredible start, but they're sort of halfway, so there's still time to go in this game, and time for Vipers to pull something back. It's not looking that way at the minute, but it's not all over yet. Elvis comes in for her second ball. and that's driven down the ground, that's driven straight. Charlie Dean's on chase, puts in the dive, but can't save that one. It's hit too well. That's 4 down the ground to Eve Jones. That was struck really well.
Identical to the one in the last over as well. Brilliant. Really nice batting.
And Eve Jones, that we said at the start was sort of struggling to find her rhythm, is now 30 off 30 balls. So she's played catch up with herself in terms of her own strike rate.
Yeah, really good support as well for Kelly.
In comes Elwes from the sea end. That's a short ball, and that has been pulled. It could be. Oh, I thought that was going to be caught on the boundary. I think that's Tara Norris, and it looked like it was straight down her throat from here. Looked like a relatively simple boundary catch, but she's parried it over. Did it go for 6?
I think it was dropped over the rope for 6. Yeah, I didn't see the signal either. I was too busy watching the reaction and the frustration of Tara Norris. That was straight down her throat, Gemma, as you said.
Yeah, she didn't have to move. It was a comfortable height, and that's sort of a sign of where Vipers are at the moment. And this time, after hitting that 6, she's just pushed that for an easy, risk-free single to the leg side. Yeah, that's a disappointing drop, and then for it to go for 6 as well is just sort of salt into the wound. So
definitely, we said this earlier, definitely a day for the batters. We've seen some brilliant batting so far this afternoon. The bowling and the fielding, not quite so great, but in terms of out there in the middle, what's been on display, great to be able to showcase that for you on BBC Radio Solent this afternoon.
In comes Elwes. That's a fuller ball, and Kelly has swept that really well backward of square leg for 4 runs. Timed that really, really well.
I wonder if the Sparks have got somewhere to be today.
And that brings up Kelly's 50. She is 53 off 28 deliveries. Really leading this chase as the Sparks are 98 for 0.
Brilliant half century for Marie Kelly. Powerful, strong, big hitting, good timing. That's
Elwes comes in and just fires that one down the leg side. Carla Rudd can deal with that, but the umpire gives a wide as it has gone down the leg side, missing everything of batter Kelly. So that's another extra to the total that Vipers don't need at the moment. In comes Elwes, and that's a fuller ball, and there's no cover on the offside now, so Marie Kelly's just pushed that through the infield, and that has raced away for another 4 through extra cover. The score goes on to 103 for no loss by the Sparks off the 10th over at the halfway stage.
Really expensive stuff from the Vipers. They need to find something. They need to find it fast. Look, a couple of wickets changes any game, and it could still do that here, but at the moment this one's going to be wrapped up very early. Again, the run rate for the Sparks up over 10 and over at the moment. They only need 6 and over from here on in for the win.
And
as long as these two are at the crease.
I keep saying about the Vipers' bowling attack, and in the 3 games prior to this they've taken 27 wickets out of the 30 on offer. Yet to take a wicket here in the first 10 overs.
Charlie Dean in her sunglasses to continue from the Cromwell Road end, right arm round the wicket to the left-handed captain Eve Jones. Jones is on 37. She just dabs that one into the offside. Dot ball, no run. The Vipers will take any dot ball they can get at the moment. We've got a covering fielder back on the offside away to our left. Long off is back. And then we've got a cow corner and a deep square leg away to our right for the left-hander as well. Another dot ball, better from Charlie Dean. And better from the Vipers, 2 overs in. Two deliveries in, I should say, to the overs. Charlie Dean comes in again round the wicket. That one's driven up to long off. Just the single.
This is one of the hardest situations to be in the field in, because you've got to do both things. You've got to stop runs and you've got to take wickets. And it sounds an obvious thing, but they can't afford to be leaking these easy singles, because the Sparks can knock it off.
Yeah, exactly, and they're going to want to try and build some pressure, but as you say, a run of ball does it now for the Sparks. So they'll take those singles all day long. They missed out on one there though. That's good fielding from Georgia Adams at mid-off as Charlie Dean comes over the wicket to the right-handed Marie Kelly back on strike. 57 from 30 deliveries. Real display of big, sensible hitting as she comes across to the offside again, does Marie Kelly, and then sweeps it to the leg side. There is a covering fielder away to our left on the rope, so it's just a single for Marie Kelly. She moves on to 58. The Sparks 105 without loss. Just 58 more runs needed for the win. Charlie Dean round the wicket to Jones. Guided down towards third man, fielded by Charlotte Taylor, who's in on the single, so dot ball, no run. Better over for the Vipers, that one. Good from Charlie Dean. The Sparks 105 without loss. Jones on 38, Kelly on 58. You're listening to BBC Radio Solent Sport. Live from Sussex, the county ground in Hove is hosting this Charlotte Edwards Cup match between the Southern Vipers and the Central Sparks. The Sparks winning the toss, putting the Vipers into bat in the sunshine. Weren't sure if it was the right decision at the time. Definitely weren't sure at the halfway point when the Vipers had smashed 162, courtesy of a big 88 not out from opener and captain Georgia Adams. But very much looking at the picture now, it was very much the right decision to bat second and chase down the target from the Central Sparks, because they are cruising towards victory.
We've got a change of bowling at the end. Tara Norris is coming on at this end with her left arm over. Bowling to Kelly, that's a slower ball, stuck in the pitch a little bit, but Kelly has pulled that backward of square for another 4. There is a deep square leg fielder, but she couldn't get round. And that's another 4 to Kelly, another 4 to the total, and another blow to the Vipers. They've tried everything, but nothing is working. So change up again, bring Tara Norris on in a loose ball to start the over. It's going to readjust their field now as well. Kelly's just taken a new guard with this left arm, different angle coming in. Tara Norris running in past the umpire. Bowls again, another slower ball, that's up in the air, that could be the first wicket. No one's called for it. That's safe. The keeper and the bowler, it went somewhere in between them. Tara Norris charged in. I don't know if she called it because the keeper sort of Carla Rudd stepped back a bit, whereas I'd back
Tell
her.
me, Gemma, Carla Rudd's getting there, isn't she? She keeps running. She left it for the bowler.
She's nearer and she's got the gloves. I would have left it to her. But Tara Norris on her follow through perhaps thought it was hers, called it and couldn't make it. I think Rudd would have got that. I think it would have been a fairly comfortable catch for Rudd. So
Norris wasn't really anywhere near it in the end, was she? Oh.
That's another mix-up. And a chance gone down, a big chance. That would have been Marie Kelly gone for 62, but she survives and is on 63. In comes Norris. Looks like another slower ball, and Eve has just worked that onto the leg side for a single. Eve Jones. Yeah, another sort of miscommunication. It sums up the Vipers at the minute. Some of the body language on the pitch is sort of summing up the position they're in at the minute too. There's a lot of hands on hips. Marie Kelly on strike as Norris comes in. Bowls, that's back of the length, gets away with that. It's a dot ball. She's pushed that to the cover fielder. There's still no boundary cover on the offside for Marie Kelly. Everyone's back on the leg side, or there is a long off, sorry. But there's no one patrolling that cover boundary, so if she does get it through that infield, it's 4 all the way. Score is on 111 for naught. And in comes Norris. That's a fuller ball, that's driven, and that has just gone through that infield in the covers, as I said, through between cover and extra cover, beat both of them and has gone all the way for another 4. The score moves on to 115 and Marie Kelly moves on to 67. Yep, nothing's working here. We've tried spin, we've tried the pace and bounce of Bell, the left arm swing of Norris, the usually steady and line and length of Georgia Elwish, and nothing's coming off for the Vipers at the minute.
Impressive stuff from the Sparks as well.
And in comes Norris. That one's dragged down. Marie Kelly tried to have a swipe at that leg slide, didn't get hold of it. Got some sort of edge, might have edged it into her own body for a dot ball. And the umpire is signalling. Oh, has that hit her helmet as well? Looks like they're having a helmet.
I don't think
it didn't look high enough.
I don't think it did. No.
No, it didn't get up enough.
I think it's just because she
just got hit.
Yeah, I think maybe a bit of an injury, impact injury.
Medic's just coming out to check her over.
Well, maybe it did. The helmet's coming off.
Didn't look like it got up high enough from here, but maybe it did.
Physio, as you say, Gemma, is on. Maybe the neck, maybe? She's moving her it's a head that's being seen to by the physio.
It does give Vipers a little break to hopefully readjust, but...
Yeah, maybe she can get some messages on there from the dressing room. And Charlotte Edwards, I mean, she was here on commentary with us the last time these two played. She dropped in for a couple of overs and she was not very happy with the fielding display from her team then. I think she's going to be fuming, putting it lightly, based on what she's seen out there so far. You know, all round really, bowling and fielding, and how they've just let this game to this point get away from them.
Yeah, she sets very high standards of any team that she manages. Obviously she was manager of the Southern Braves, who had a fantastic tournament right up until the final, when they put in one of their weakest performances, and that's what Vipers are doing here today. So yeah, I think Charlotte Edwards will have a few pointers, should we say, in the talk afterwards.
Pointers, I like the way you put it. Will be a first defeat if it does end that way as well for the Vipers in this format of the game this season. 3 wins from 3 so far. They've been dominant.
And in the other game in this group, so South East Stars hosting Lightning, South East Stars very much on top of that game. They scored a massive 175. Lightning are currently 84 for 4, needing 92 from 6 overs. So South East Stars victory looking very likely. I don't think it will change the table because Vipers have had a few more bonus points. I think they'll still stay top. But it will certainly close that gap, as Vipers are obviously looking to be the top team of the two groups to finish, to get an automatic place through to the final.
Yeah, of course, all 3 wins for the Vipers so far, as you say, Jim, have been bonus point wins. That's why they've been so dominant and way ahead in terms of points across the 2 groups and league leaders. But Charlotte Taylor will come back on then from the far end, the Cromwell Road end, in the first delivery, as has been the case for the last few overs. Gets dispatched for 4. Marie Kelly is okay, by the way. The physio's headed back off the pitch. She's recomposed herself. She's at the non-strikers end. That was Eve Jones who smashed that one over the rope. She moves on to 39. The Sparks 115 without loss. Less than 50 needed for the victory now. 48 runs required. Jones drives one through the offside up to long off, who has to come round to do the fielding away to our left. Fires the ball in, just a single picked up for Jones. It brings Kelly back onto strike. Jones is on 44. She has a half century in her sights now. What a display from the 2 Sparks openers so far. You're listening to BBC Radio Solent Sport. Taylor's coming back over the wicket now for the right-handed Kelly. Change in the field, long off and long on, both in position back on the rope. 2 sweepers away to our left as well. Sweep shot from Kelly. She finds the gap between the 2 fielders away to our left on the leg side. 1 bounce, 4. More powerful hitting from Marie Kelly. Another boundary. It's been a boundary fest so far. She moves on to 71. The Sparks 124 without loss. 39 needed for the win. Taylor in again, right arm over the wicket, more flight, another sweep shot. This one is straight at the fielder at deep square leg, so it'll just be the single picked up for Marie Kelly. But again, great timing as she goes down onto one knee and targets that leg side. brings Jones back onto strike. The wind whips up again around the county ground here in Hove. The sun is still shining overhead. The shadows are getting a bit longer. Jones comes down the track, uses her feet, doesn't find the gap, but does pick out Georgia Adams at mid-on. Dot ball, no run. 13 fours and 1 6 for Marie Kelly so far. Jones goes smashing the ball back past Charlotte Taylor, fielded it long off. Just a single picked up for Jones. 6 fours for her and a 6 as well. Some great hitting from the openers for the Central Sparks this afternoon. End of the 13th over, 7 to go. 37 needed for the win. Just over 5 and over will do it from here on in for the Sparks. Their current run rate just under 10. Jones approaching a half century. The captain not out on 45. Star of the show so far, Marie Kelly, alongside her on 72. Another change of bowling. Gemma Green for the Southern Vipers from this sea end.
Yep, Lauren Bell's coming back into the attack. So a bit of height, bit of pace from the sea end. She didn't bowl too badly at the start in the power play. She's going to be coming over the wicket to the left-hander. Again, they've got that cow corner spread, 3 fielders sort of round that area of the pitch with just the one on the offside, out on the boundary. In comes Bell. That's pushed a point for no run. They still look frustrated when they get a dot ball, these batters. And say, you're doing okay.
They certainly are. But I guess when they've been hitting so freely, you can understand why.
In comes Bell. That's just back on the length. It's just worked away backward of square leg for an easy single. That's all they need to do now. The Sparks, they've done the hard part. They've broken the back of this chase and then some. Marie Kelly comes on strike now. She's 72 off 38 balls, and Captain Eve Jones is on 46. So they are still with no loss, 127. And the Vipers are looking very much like they don't know what to do. They're trying several things. They're moving the field, trying to get it right, but nothing's coming off. And these 2 batters are in very good form now. In comes Bell. That's dragged down a bit of a slower ball, and that is pulled to deep mid-wicket. Emily Windsor does the fielding there, keeps that down to a single, brings the left-hander back on strike.
And look, there's been plenty of bad balls over the course of the 2 innings, but it's been a really good display and lesson in putting the bad ball away this afternoon, and when the good balls have come, just rotating the strike. Both teams have done that really well.
In comes Bell. Slightly back the ball, she's taken on that leg side field, finds Paige Schofield at cow corner, who manages to keep it down to a single. She's doing the role that Izzy Wong did on that boundary earlier. She's been there for a large part of the innings and kept a lot of balls down to singles. But like we say, singles at the minute isn't a win for Vipers. They really need to pick up a wicket here, and very quickly. In comes Bell to Kelly. And that ball, that's just steered to point for no run.
Head scratch time for Georgia Adams. What do you do? Where do you find the breakthrough? Where's it coming from? You just can't see it at the moment anywhere out there.
Bell comes charging in past the umpire, and that's a fuller ball. Marie's taken on the sweep there, and that's another 4 to her name. She's played that shot really well today. She makes good connection, that hits that hard. And again, there was a fielder at backward square leg, but she's managed to hit that ball behind them, and Emily Windsor couldn't get there for the save there. So that's 4 runs to Marie Kelly. That ends the over, and Sparks are 129 without loss. Kelly on to 73 and Jones on to 47.
Gemma, that sweep shot as well, as easy as she is making it look, it's really not that easy. To get to get everything in place. You know, pick the line, pick the length, get your body down, and then time your shot as well.
And off the seamers, yeah.
Yeah, incredible stuff from Marie Kelly so far, and that has been a staple of her 77 from 41 balls. Brilliant on the sweep. A few reverses in there as well, early doors. Another change of bowling then from the Cromwell Road end. Charlie Dean to complete her set. Right arm round the wicket to the left-hander. Jones, the skipper, dot ball, no run off the first. The run rate 5 and over. That's what's required here on in. Round the wicket again. This one cut away into the offside. There's no one there. All the way to the boundary for 4. Half century comes up. A brilliant 50 for Evie Jones in support of Marie Kelly out there. Both openers with half centuries. They are sending their side, the Central Sparks, closer and closer to victory against the Southern Vipers in this Charlotte Edwards Cup match. Dean round the wicket, swept away and caught by Lauren Bell. Fine leg, short fine leg, and that brings an end to a brilliant innings from Eve Jones. She's gone for 51, having just brought up her half century moments ago. Her batting partner Marie Kelly comes over and puts an arm around her shoulder and says, "Well batted, partner. Great stuff. Off you go. Your work is done. I'll see it home from here on in." The Sparks finally lose their first wicket, 137 for 1, but it looks like it's going to be too late for the Vipers.
Yeah, something finally going right for the Vipers, but like you say, too little too late perhaps. But we'll see what the rest of the Sparks lineup have to offer. All they need to do is give Kelly the strike, if they're thinking sensibly. She's obviously in form and on 77, so they don't need to come in and do anything difficult, anything risky, anything crazy. They just need to support her.
So the new batter to the crease coming in at number 3, Millie Home for the Central Sparks. She's had to sit, wait and watch for an awful long time. Now then, Southern Vipers, can you make it interesting? Stranger things have happened in cricket. It's a long way back from here for the Vipers, but you just never know. Can they get this field right?
You're right, and it's not just being a wicket down. You haven't got 2 batters that are in now. You've got one who's fresh at the crease, so you can put pressure on. Say they don't have to do anything silly, so the pressure's not on them in respect of the game situation. But as a fielding unit, you can put that pressure on them.
Charlie Dean, right arm over the wicket from the Cromwell Road end, fires one in at the pads of Millie Home, the new batter. Dot ball, no run. Pressure's on maybe, just a little bit. There's a tight ring around Millie Home, bar a couple of fielders out on the leg side away to our left. Dean in his sunglasses comes right arm over the wicket again. A little bit more flight, only a touch more in that one. Outside the off stump, driven to extra cover. Dot ball, no run. Second consecutive dot. That's the way to build a bit of pressure. Fielder goes back on the offside, and long on goes back as well. They want to give Home the single here. Single slaps one back towards Charlie Dean. Dean diving away to her left, gets a good hand on it. Dot ball, no run. That does mean though that Marie Kelly will be on strike for the start of the next over. At the end of the 15th over, the Central Sparks 137 for 1, chasing 163 for victory. So just 26 more runs needed from those final 5 overs. 5 runs an over will do it from here on in. The 1 wicket to fall in that last over. Eve Jones, the captain, for a quite brilliant half century. 51 off 47 balls, caught by Bell off the bowling of Charlie Dean.
What will be really interesting here now is obviously the wicket of Kelly. That will really spice things up for the Vipers to have 2 new batters at the crease. And Adams has given the ball to one of her more senior players as Georgia Elwes comes in to bowl. And do you know what? I thought that was going straight down the throat. The reflection I've got here there's a fielder there for me, right where that ball landed. But it's not a fielder, it's a reflection of Maya Bouchier, who was nowhere near it, and that ball has gone for 4 runs. So 4 runs off the first ball of the over. And Georgia Elwes comes in again, and Kelly has pulled that into the leg side. Bouchier, not the shadow of Bouchier, the actual Bouchier, picks that one up and throws that back in for a single. So Millie Home back on strike. The Vipers are going to squeeze this now, I'm sure.
The commentary box, the glass in the commentary box playing tricks on us here at Hove.
I've actually got about 4 fielders in one position there now, but there's none there. I really thought it'd gone down her throat.
So Kelly on to 82, 21 needed for the win. We didn't see 100 in the first innings.
In comes Elwes to home, and she's hit that down the ground, and she's got that through. Oh no, she hasn't. I thought that had beaten long on and long off, but Charlie Dean was quick enough around that and managed to pull that back with the support of Georgia Adams to keep that to a single, but it does bring Kelly back on strike.
Will we see 100 in the second innings? It's still mathematically possible. You'd say it was probably unlikely, given the runs remaining and what's needed as well to get Kelly to a century. 18 required for her.
So Kelly's on strike, and that's a full toss. That might be called a no ball. That's been punished and put away square leg for 4. Note the umpires deemed that did dip enough and was just about waist height. So no ball, no free hit is the sort of silver lining for Vipers. But
Kelly not happy, having a word with the umpire at square leg, saying, "Hang on a minute, that was well over my waist."
She doesn't want a no ball though, because it's not runs to her, is it? It doesn't help the 100. Elwes comes in and bowls. That's a Yorker length. That's a great ball. But as the way this innings has been going, that's also going to go for 4. That was a Yorker length that got Kelly in a little bit of trouble as she squirted that, but it just ran down very fine.
I thought
leg.
That might be buys, but there was bat on it.
There was a little bit
90
of bat.
for Kelly.
So
12 needed for the win, 10 for the century.
In comes Elwes and bowls, and Kelly's just happy just to push that dot ball, no run, as that ends the 16th over. Sparks are 151, 151 for 1. Kelly is on 90 off just 46 balls, but she won't be on strike as we go into the 17th over.
12 runs needed from the final 4 overs. 3 and over will do it for the Sparks. Another expensive one for the Vipers. They are cruising, the Central Sparks, towards the win. Just 1 wicket down as it stands. All eyes on now whether Marie Kelly can get what would be a fantastic and well-deserved century. She's 90 off just 46 balls. Incredible stuff. 10 more she needs for 3 figures. Of course, just 12 needed for the win. Someone who might have a say about how that develops is Millie Home, who is on 1. She is on strike at the other end. She will face Charlotte Taylor from the Cromwell Road end. Loopy first delivery from Taylor, bounces up high on the bat of Millie Home, who defends just about for a dot ball. Taylor again, right arm over the wicket, wide outside the off stump, slash at it from Home, dot ball, it's into the gloves of Carla Rudd, no run. This is a final over for Charlotte Taylor. That one lobbed into the leg side and taken by mid-on.
Charlie Dean.
Charlie Dean with the catch, Charlotte Taylor with the breakthrough, Millie Home dismissed. Central Sparks lose their second wicket, 151 for 2, but with just 12 more needed for the victory. You'd say it's probably not going to cause them too many problems. Charlotte Taylor has her first wicket of the game. And that's a much better over so far for the Vipers. A good bowling, a good pressure on the new batter as well. Didn't let Millie Home settle. We said that would be the key, and whether they could make something interesting to happen in terms of the end of this game. Unfortunately, they've not been able to keep Marie Kelly quiet at the other end during that period. But a good wicket to take all the same. Charlie Dean, Still on a high from our England call-up, I'm sure, despite what looks like will be a disappointing afternoon for our Southern Vipers side. Taking a good catch as well at mid-on. Good flight in the ball from Charlotte Taylor. So new batter to the crease. It's going to be Gwen Davies.
I think they crossed on the catch, so it's Kelly on strike.
Fired in this time from Charlotte Taylor at the pads of Marie Kelly. Dot ball, no run. Four balls gone, three gone. Right arm over from Taylor. Slapped into the leg side by Marie Kelly. It'll just be a single. Quite happy to get herself up the other end. Score ticks over to 152 for 152 for 2. Kelly on to 91. 11 needed for the win now. 9 for Kelly's century. Brings Gwen Davies on to strike for the first time to face her first ball. Left-handed, so Charlotte Taylor goes round the wicket. Reverse sweep. It wraps the pads and the finger goes up. Golden duck for Gwen Davies. Charlotte Taylor strikes again, her second wicket of the over. Are we going to see an interesting finish to this game? Just 11 the Sparks need for the win, but they're now 152 for 3.
That's exactly what we said they didn't need to do. Come in and do anything difficult or sort of interesting like that, but she obviously fancied that first up.
So one wicket brings another wicket. Again, we'll just say it's probably all going to be in vain for the Vipers, but it's cricket after all. Funny things happen. 11 runs needed for the Sparks for victory. We have just seen the end of the 17th over, so 3 overs to go. That run rate's ticked up. Nearly at 4 and over required now.
And Thea Brooks has joined Kelly at the crease, but it's the end of the over, so Kelly's on strike to Lauren Bell from the C end. In comes Bell, and she's tried to sweep that. Was that a bit of pad? Maybe it sounded paddy, but I see no pre-signal from the umpire, so that's another single to Kelly, who moves on to 91.
Generous, I think. That sounded very much like a pad. Must have been a bit of glove involved, perhaps. 100 still on for Kelly.
What do you think she's saying to Brooks now?
Got out these 5 balls, please. I'll deal with it at the other end. That's a risky game to play, isn't it?
Yeah. Bell's pushing the field on the offside out for the new bat. That's Emily Windsor going out to the rope there, and Bell comes in. Thea Brooks faces her first ball, which she plays and misses at, goes through to Carla Rudd for a dot ball. Rudd does look like she's standing a little bit closer now, and that carried through, so she's got her distances sorted.
Yeah, learned some lessons from earlier on in the game, which you pointed out, didn't you, Gemma? Not much was carrying to her. Not that there have been any edges, I think, for her to worry about anyway.
No, but you don't want to be taking awkward ones. There's a lot of chat going on with the captain and bowler. Lauren Bell's coming in over the wicket to the new bat, Thea Brooks, and that's pitched up, and it's another player miss. She's taken a big swipe at that as well, for someone on their second ball supporting the partner who's on 92.
Yeah, you'd want to be getting Kelly just back on strike when you bat on ball. Get Kelly back on strike. Have Vipers finally got this field right? Interesting that they've still got the 2 back on the leg side for the new batter. You wouldn't really want to be giving Brooks an easy single.
Bell in again, and Brooks has just pushed that 2 extra cover for another dot ball. So there's a little bit of pressure here mounting. There's still plenty of time in terms of number of balls left in the game for the Sparks. But Bell's keeping Thea Brooks quite quiet here, and more importantly Kelly quiet down the other end at the moment.
Solid, consistent line in length, which is exactly what's needed.
And in comes Bell. That's a fuller ball. Thea Brooks does push that for a single. There's just 1 ball to go in this over that Kelly will be on strike for.
What are you doing here then if you're Marie Kelly, Gemma? Are you trying to find a single to get yourself back on strike for the next over and get this game done and dusted? Are you going for the big hit just to ease the pressure a bit more?
Well, there's a
9 needed for the win.
Look at that gap on the leg side. There's a single anywhere on the leg side. Absolutely anywhere. So Belle's backing her line and length here to keep that outside off. And yeah, there'll be a single on the leg side.
Great batting from Marie Kelly.
Yeah.
I mean, you've called it there.
But that was really strange. 4 fielders on the leg side, all of them on the rope to give her an easy single. I don't quite understand that. But she gets the single. She takes it with pleasure and will be on strike at the beginning of the 19th over.
Here we go then. 2 overs remaining. 12 balls. 8 runs required for the win. Marie Kelly not out the opener. 93 from 50 deliveries. Still has 100 in her sights if she wants it. She is on strike as well for the first ball of this over. Tara Norris is coming back on from the Cromwell Road end just to try and make things interesting. 4 and over will do it from here in terms of run rate. It shouldn't be any problems really. It's just whether maybe a couple of wickets, and the wicket of Kelly would really change this game for the Vipers. Tara Norris then, left arm over the wicket to Marie Kelly. Marie Kelly slaps one into the leg side. Has she found the gap between the 2 fielders out there away to our left? No, she hasn't. It's just the single. Brooks gets sent back. Thea Brooks looking for the second, so just the 1 run. Kelly moves on to 94, 7 needed for victory now, chasing 163 for the win. The Sparks are on 156 for 3. Thea Brooks on strike. Tara Norris will be the bowler from the Cromwell Road end. 4 balls with the over left. 5 balls with the over left, I should say, sorry.
They're bringing,
changing the field.
Bringing square leg up, sending third man back. There's still singles on offer there for the new bat.
Third man and fine leg both back. And mid-wicket there is a fielder on the boundary as well in Maya Bouchier. Tara Norris, left arm over the wicket, slapped into the offside and plucked out of the sky by Georgia Adams, I think it was. Another wicket for the Southern Vipers. Tara Norris with the breakthrough. This game's getting really interesting at the death. Thea Brooks departs for 1. The Central Sparks 156 for 5. Now they need 7 for the victory. They've got 10 balls remaining. Gemma Green.
Yeah, I was just saying they've left a lot of gaps on the leg side, but they packed that offside, and fair play, their plans pulled off. There were 4 in that. I think there were. It wasn't reflections in the windows. I think there were 4 in that sort of extra cover region, and she picked out one of them. It was a great catch from Georgia Adams. It was hit quite hard, and she took that with no trouble at all. So the incoming batter is Ria Thakral, who's taken her guard now.
4 wickets down, I should say as well. Sorry, my apologies. Not 5. Getting way ahead of myself. It's the drama at the end of this game. So 4 balls of the over left. Tara Norris, left arm over the wicket from the Cromwell Road end. Into Thakral, full and straight. Thakral drives forward, dot ball, no run.
It's amazing what a few wickets does, even at this sort of late stage in the innings, when the game looks almost won. The body language of the fielding side, everything looks so much more energetic all of a sudden.
Marie Kelly still there at the non-strikers end at the moment, not where she'd want to be. 94 not out. Thakral yet to get off the mark. Norris left arm over the wicket. Thakral drives up to mid-off, and the throw comes in from Georgia Elwis. Direct hit, and it may well have been interesting, but Thakral is safe and home. Picks up the single. She's off the mark. The score 157 for 4. 6 runs needed for the win. 2 balls of the over remaining. Tara Norris turns at the top of her run. And she comes, left arm, over, bowls, full and straight, in at the pads of Marie Kelly, who flicks one into the leg side, misfield, so they're going to come back for the second. Are they in time? Yes, just. Good fielding in the end from Charlie Dean. I think it was down on the rope, long on. But she couldn't get the throw in quickly enough. 2 runs picked up for Marie Kelly. She's on to 96. She needs 4 for a century. The Central Sparks need 4 for victory. 7 balls left. 1 hit, 1 boundary will cap what has been a brilliant innings for Marie Kelly, and a wonderful win as well for the Central Sparks, chasing down 163. But the Vipers are still in this game, and a wicket for them and the wicket of Kelly would definitely make things interesting. Tara Norris from the Cromwell Road end. Left arm over the wicket. Marie Kelly smashes one into the leg side. 1 bounce, 4. Both arms raised into the air. A brilliant 100 for Marie Kelly. Seals the victory for the Central Sparks. A 6-wicket win over the Southern Vipers in the Charlotte Edwards Cup. What an innings from Marie Kelly. She raises her bat into the air. And what a way to finish the game as well. She gets the boundary she needs for the century and the win for the Central Sparks. Gemma Green.
That was an absolutely fantastic knock. It's one of the best centuries I've ever seen in the women's game. She played all round the pitch, and so the Vipers tried a lot of different options to her. She had answers to everyone. She had the Vipers moving the field, and she just had them under the cosh the whole from ball 1, to be honest. Right at the start of the innings, when she came out with that intent, was 15 off 6 balls, I think, at the start. Had a really good start, and then she's kept that momentum going all throughout. There was a little period, obviously, where Sparks lost a few wickets. They lost Eve Jones, who had put on 137 with Kelly, and then they had a little flourish of wickets they lost, but she kept her cool, and she really deserved that 100, really deserved it. So I'm really pleased that as they knocked off the runs, she was able to pick up that well-deserved century, because that was a really, really class innings.
The century coming off just 53 balls for Marie Kelly. She leads the side off now to a standing ovation from the supporters away to our left in the pavilion here at the county ground in Hove. The players shake hands. Incredible batting, and of course the unbeaten start for the Southern Vipers comes to an end in the Charlotte Edwards Cup. 3 consecutive victories to start their campaign off. A break for the 100. It's been an unhappy return here at Hove for the Vipers. And like they were in the Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy, the Vipers beaten here in Sussex by the Central Sparks. They're becoming a bit of a bogey team for the Vipers here at the county ground in Hove. A reminder, we've got more cricket on the way for you on BBC Radio Solent from 7 o'clock this evening. The Hampshire Hawks, the men, will go in the quarter-finals of the T20 Blast away at Notts. Kevin James will bring you the commentary of that one. Our sports show is on the air with all the build-up from 6 o'clock. We'll also have live League Cup football commentary for you as well, with Southampton away at Newport from 7:45. I'm going to head off now and try and get some reaction from the Southern Vipers camp following that 6-wicket defeat here to the Central Sparks. But from myself and from Gemma Green, thank you very much for listening. Gemma, just one final word in terms of how the Vipers now pick themselves up from here and obviously go again, because they are still very much in the hunt for a place at finals day at the Ageas Bowl next month.
Absolutely, they're still in a comfortable position table-wise. That defeat today is going to hurt, but when you lose and you haven't played your best, there's always something you can do about it, which I think is the case today. They batted well, but they didn't bowl, they didn't field anywhere near their best, so they can take that away from the game, that they know they can do better, and I'm sure they'll pull themselves back in the next game next week.
Gemma, thank you very much. Great to have you there again this afternoon. That's Gemma Green, and that is all we've got time for here at the county ground in Hove. You'll hear the reaction on BBC Radio Solent later on with Adam Blackmore and the rest of the team, and of course the interviews will go up on the @Solent Sport Twitter account as well. But thank you very much for listening. From here at the county ground in Hove, the Southern Vipers beaten by 6 wickets by the Central Sparks.